The Villanova men's basketball team has had an incredible run over the past 4 years, winning 2 national championships in 3 years. And as Jay Wright looked back, the one thing that he thought was the biggest difference, and the question that he had to answer was, how do we keep our culture strong? It wasn't better shooting, better rebounding, faster players. It was a culture thing. And he knew that strong culture would be the difference maker in winning a national championship. I think Jay Wright was onto something. A strong culture is the most common denominator amongst successful organizations and businesses. A lot of us might think it's the highest performing person, or how much revenue did we do, how many work hours do we get, but the best leaders understand that a strong culture is really the key that locks in a business or an organization and moves them and helps them to get to a place that they couldn't get to without a strong culture. Leaders in successful organizations do 2 things really well. Number 1, they live their culture every day. It's a part of who they are when they get to work, in the midst of work, and when they leave. It's something that happens every day. And the second thing that leaders do to really enhance and keep a strong culture is they communicate it in a variety of ways. It's not just what comes out of your mouth, it's the actions that you display with your employees. It's the way that you care for them. It's the way you invest in them. It's the way their body language reveals itself. Here's one tip. If you've got people that are following you, they should know that you wouldn't ask them to do anything that you wouldn't be willing to do first. It doesn't mean you should do it, but you'd be willing to do it, and they should know that. That's how a good leader reflects culture day in and day out. After years of conversations and research with organizations, here's what surprises me. Most of the people in an organization have no idea how they could describe the culture that they're in. They have no idea what the mission statement is. They have no idea what the vision is or where you're headed. And that's an issue. That's something that as leaders, we have to do a great job of understanding that our culture really matters. And if our employees and our staff can't communicate it, then we've got an issue. So why does culture matter? I want to share with you 4 things that I think will help you understand how culture is an important part of your organization, and maybe some thoughts on how to implement it. Number 1, a strong culture correlates with performance. So if you're looking at your team, you're looking at your organization, and you're trying to think of ways to increase performance, my encouragement would be to start with culture. Start with the things that you're doing with your team, maybe offering them lunch or caring about them, extending an invitation to talk and see what they might think is good about the organization and the direction that you should go. Number 2, a strong culture is the ultimate competitive advantage, and it's really hard to copy. If you're looking for ways to grow and really strengthen your organization, take your team and your staff to another level, the best investment you can make is by investing in the culture of that organization, of your people and the people that are following you. And here's number 3, a strong culture finds unique and creative ways to innovate and succeed. It's what I call your secret sauce. At Chick-fil-A, you probably know, they're often saying, "My pleasure." Maybe for a church, it's the way that you greet and care for somebody those first 3 or 4 weeks as they make a decision about whether to stay at your church. In a nonprofit, it might be the way that a client feels about the way that you've cared about them, or in a business, it might be the way that an employee feels about you. These are important things that build culture. And here's number 4, a strong culture deepens relationships between people working together. And honestly, let's face it, if you want a strong culture, your people, the people in your organization, they matter most. Care about them, invest in them, make them feel like they are an integral and intimate part of your organization, and you'll see incredible results. That's a strong culture. If you're looking for somebody who has a great influence on culture, Edgar Schein is a great person to think about and read about. And this is what he said about culture. The bottom line for leaders is if they do not become conscious of the cultures in which they are embedded, those cultures will manage them. Cultural understanding is desirable for all of us, but it is essential to leaders if they are to lead. As you think about your organization, here's a great question to ask yourself. How can you be in charge if you're not in control? I don't mean in control in a bad way. I mean that you are the one that's influencing and creating, managing, and ensuring that the culture that you want, a strong culture, is what you're working towards. Thanks for watching.